It's 9:04. Thanks,
I've
Jen.
already, thank you. I've already streamed.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead
All
and
right.
click go. Yeah.
Okay, going right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Conversationalists. This is our last episode for 2022. We're so excited for the new year, and honestly, what a journey it has been. And after 4 months, can you guys believe it's been 4 months of running this amazing show? We built a community, we harnessed the power of social audio, we connected deeper through heated debates about a lot of topics that we discussed, but also through our vulnerabilities. So, and we learned a lot about ourselves as creators, and most importantly, we grounded our purpose and passion. So today we'll be sharing what were our best moments in the show this year and what defines a best moment to us personally. I am joined by my two fabulous co-hosts, Jason Zakowski from the Bunsen and Beaker account and Jennifer Navarrete, and our amazing speakers from the Conversationalists for today, George Silverman and Daniel Roeder. And I'm your host, Juwaidia or Gia El Hassan. I'm an African-American digital nomad currently living in Malaysia. I'm a serial entrepreneur, branding consultant, funnels and content strategist for high-end coaches and entrepreneurs, and also recently a social audio coach and the host of the Decoded by Gia podcast. So I'll let the co-hosts introduce themselves and then we go to our speakers.
Hey,
Go for it.
Jennifer Navarrete here. I cannot believe it's been 4 months. It feels like we've been doing this for far longer because of just how much has happened. And I think when you do a rapid experiment, we learn, we share, we grow all together. And so I'm really thrilled to do this recap show of our best moments.
This is Jason Zakowski. I'm the, I guess you could say, dog dad of Bunsen and Beaker, the science dogs on social media. I'm a science communicator and chemistry teacher, and I do social audio shows too. I'm the de facto leader of the conversationalists. I had an idea to bring together people in the social audio space to have meaningful conversations, and that has been exactly what has happened, and it's evolved over time as things do. So I'm excited for the discussion today.
He's the cat herder.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little bit like that.
Jennifer.
Jennifer already went.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's you, George.
Oh, it's me. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, George. Sorry, George Silverman. I'm a retired psychologist and business consultant. Wrote the Secrets of Word of Mouth Marketing book, started the whole word of mouth marketing trend. And I am essentially the inventor of social audio. Did first social audio groups 53 years ago. What's now called social audio, wasn't called it then. Invented the telephone focus group, done 10,000 telephone focus groups, customer seminars, workshops, all kinds of things on, in the past, telephone conference calls, now Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces.
Chief Academic Officer for the David Z Foundation. It's a music nonprofit where we focus on songwriting for academic growth and mental health. And then I'm also a special education teacher and also composer and performer. So I'm the newest cat to the herd. This is week 3 for me. But like Jennifer said, it already feels like much longer. So I'm just really thankful to be part of these conversations and looking forward to this one.
Yeah, as you guys were talking, I was thinking we have a whole set of common values, particularly as Jennifer was talking. We all kind of believe in learning by building. Think you'd all agree with. I think you'd all agree with that. We're experimenters.
Yep.
Our minds kind of work differently, and I'm finding myself kind of closer to you guys in some ways than I am to some of my best friends. Because my best friends are friends because of other kinds of personal qualities that I like. I do enjoy being around them, but my friends are getting a little more boring. I hate to say that. I hope
Are they here?
Right. I hope nobody's listening in. But they kind of didn't get me in some ways. Well, first of all, I should say almost all of my friends, our friends, my wife and I's friends, are psychologists, mental health workers, social workers, psychiatrists, or psychologists. So we're kind of in the mental health community. And they don't kind of get what I'm like the outlier. I was a psychologist. I was even a psychotherapist. I got all kinds of fancy degrees, but I'm not like part of that community at all. I'm not into pathology. I don't care about psychopathology personally. I care about people's mental health, but I don't care about it as my profession. I don't want to focus on that. So here I'm getting a reception that I don't get among them. It's really weird.
Mm. Mm. I could totally relate to that, George. We connected in such a deeper level that
Oh,
every time I go through something, I think of you guys. I run to you guys. I call you, I call Jennifer, I go to Daniel and Jason and the rest of the
and
conversationalists that we have.
Samantha's
We're not here.
Samantha's traveling today, so she couldn't be with us. But Samantha should be included in that list, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say Samantha
Yeah.
and Kiki, and
Yep.
it's just like so many people that I connected with, and Rose too. Rose is here with us, and it's just such a it's different. I was telling Jason yesterday, like I just want to sit with y'all in one room and just hug everyone and just cry my eyes out. And it's just how we connected in such a deeper level. I mean, we're here together. We've been together for how long now? 2 years almost.
I think
Spaces
Wow.
have been 2 years. Yes.
Wow.
Is it 2 already? Wow.
I know. And it's just amazing. Well, I feel like I've known you guys for decades. I feel like we grew up together in some ways because I've heard so many of your stories, so many of your families. Like we just know each other on a different level. And this is one of the best things that Twitter Spaces has done for us, to be honest.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one of the things that's fascinating about even though I was on mute, because I was like, whoa, only 4 months. So we thought we'd come together and really look at some of the best moments because those 4 months have been months of learning, so much learning. And as George said, we have a lot of similarities. I mean, we are from diverse backgrounds and from all corners of the world,
Yep.
and yet we have so much in common. And so those commonalities have brought us together, but the things that are different about us have allowed us to learn and grow in wonderful ways. So as we start off, Gia, how did we kick everything off? Which maybe Jason should tell us how we kicked everything off.
Yes.
You're
Yes,
up.
Jason.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so
Tell us.
I've got our recordings up, right? And the first episode we did was called Our Differences Are Our Strengths. So what you're all talking about, it was literally the first show about how we do have differences, but they've our differences have caused us to learn from each other as we've come together to have these discussions. And
I
the
totally
team
forgot
then
that. I totally forgot.
and the team then was quite a bit bigger. And as teams do, they evolve over time. So some members got busy and dropped out. Some members are like, oh, this isn't necessarily for me, so they dropped out. But the roster was enormous for episode 1. I think like there's 5 people here speaking today. So the original speaking team, I think, was around 10 for that episode. Not everybody got all the same kind of time to talk. But I re-listened to some of that episode and it was excellent. Everybody did such a good job with the limited time they had to speak, talking about how their differences bring something to the table that we could all learn from. And that's the cool thing about this group. This is why I asked you all to come be part of the conversationalists. Is individually we do our own things, but together it's something special.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Today,
So-
go ahead, George.
I was going to say that what have we learned from all chiefs and no Indians? I mean, that's basically what the idea was, right? I mean, you get together,
Yeah.
experienced hosts, as they call them on Spaces. I hate that word. A host is somebody who serves coffee. So we are experienced facilitators. And what have we learned?
I think like we're like chefs. We're master
Yeah.
chefs who have come together in the kitchen, and each of us has specialties that we bring to the table, and we're making a fusion happen. And in the making of fusion, you're going to make some recipes or some meals that are like, oof, yikes. And you're going to make others that are this masterful work that you couldn't have done on your own. It takes bringing everyone together with their unique understanding and their unique style to
Mm.
really add a big value to the table. And so the goal here for everyone listening isn't for us to do it for ourselves, although, as you've heard us say, we have gained so much from this. I mean, our lives are richer, we're more knowledgeable, we're more aware because of the last 4 months, but also to bring our listeners along on the journey, for you all to add to the conversation, for you all to have considerations and thoughts and ideas and understanding, and to connect with others inside of the group. Because if you come here and you listen to us week after week after week, the hosts change, and co-host change, and the speaker roster changes from within the group of conversationalists. But if you come every single week, then you're probably seeing others who come every single week, and you're probably hearing one another talk. And there is differences in
Mhm.
what you all understand and believe, but there are also things that as that commonality that can bring us together. And I think the core message to me for episode 1 was that we shouldn't focus on those differences. We should focus on those commonalities, because in that way, as human beings on planet Earth spinning around the sun, that's the real beauty of us all engaging with one another.
I
Yes,
like
and I
that. I
think
like
that just
Dan.
well, here live demonstration of what I was just about to say is the art of negotiation from a common ground. And I think that is one thing that I happened to be a listener in episode 1, and I got to observe a couple of things. Number one, that the conversation just kept going, and every moment was better than the moment before because there was that common ground, and there was that negotiation that was happening in real time where everybody on the stage was passionate, but everybody also knew that we're trying to pour a waterfall of knowledge and experience through a straw. So that's where the negotiation comes in. That we have to just kind of, whenever the most appropriate time to speak up is and articulate your point, great. And that's what I love about this whole open concept for the mic that I was introduced to by George. And then with that common ground, there's always that common goal or objective of let's have a great conversation, let's bring everything to it, but let's be efficient in what we are saying.
Hmm. I'm glad you brought up that interactive mode thing. That we did that in the first episode as an
Yep.
as an experiment. Gia and Jason were the people who were most receptive to my ideas about the interactive mode, which I developed in 1971 with other focus group moderators in the New York area. We took focus groups to a new level. Focus groups were serial interviews. You'd interview person A, you'd have a group together, but you'd interview person A, then person B in front of everybody, then person C in turn in serial order, but each person would hear what the other person said, so it triggered a lot of stuff, and that was wildly beyond the individual interview. It was incredible. Then some of us, it's lost in history who was the first. I was certainly among the first. Started getting them to talk to each other. Maybe it just happened. I think it happened spontaneously, probably. They started talking to each other and arguing with each other and building on each other's ideas and triggering each other in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. And we got to a depth, and most of us became quite wealthy from doing focus groups because we were the people who could do the best focus groups in the world. This core New York group became known to large industry as the people to go to. We could get more out of focus groups than anybody. There were hundreds of focus group moderators, but the 10 or 12 of us in New York, 8, 10, 12, I can name them, we're still friends.
Well,
Those of us who are
can
still
you
alive.
So going into that, George, can you
Hmm?
imagine that if AI were doing that? Because if we forward to episode 2, the
Yep.
topic was, is there an uncomfortable side to AI? And
Mm.
boy, howdy, back then there was a lot going on with AI. Let's fast forward those 4 months and see what's going on with AI now. And so,
Whoa.
and Jason, I think you're
I
uniquely,
can speak
you
about
and
this.
Jen, yeah, are
Oh,
uniquely
yeah,
qualified
that.
to talk about that. So what is the uncomfortable side to AI today versus what it was when we had episode 2?
Well, I don't necessarily see it as that big of an like it's going to change education for sure. Like the very it's that chat GP chat open chat, I think it's called open
Chat
chat dot open
GPS.
chat,
No,
yeah, it's open,
chat DPS.
Mhm.
It's
yeah,
chat.openai.com.
yes, thanks George. Yeah. And it's absolutely, it is so far beyond what you think normal AI is. And I've been showing my students. I'm not hiding it from them. They
Mhm.
can't wait to come to class because we screw around with it at the front of class. I had it write them like the interbaccalaureate kids because I teach school. I had it write for them an entire lab report on something complicated like the oxidation rate of iron in blood or something like that, and it spit out like a lab report. No, it's not perfect, but every year it's going to get better. But for the kids, I'm like, you obviously don't steal this, but this is going to make your life so much easier as a starting point. Like instead of like wondering and wondering and running, like use this as a starting point to make everything better. Make your lab report better. Think about your variables. Think about, more creativity. Like this is your starting point. Now, how could you change it to be more you?
Hey,
George,
Jay,
I believe you
uh,
mentioned that, right? Like use
yeah,
it to be more creative.
yeah,
Though
but
on the
I have a
humanity
tip
side,
for
real
you.
quick. Yeah. Oh,
I
just
have
real quick.
sure.
On the humanity side, they're very worried
Yep.
because it can write essays. Like I typed in, write me an 1,000-word essay that compares the Grapes of Wrath to Romeo and Juliet, and it spit out something that was better than I could write and most kids could write. And
Mhm.
so the humanities teachers, like I ran a little seminar with them, and they're like, oh boy. So this
I've
is it's both good and bad.
I have a quick tip that I picked up last night in a space. Perplexity AI. Perplexity
Ooh.
dot AI is Chat GPT with search. It'll write you a paper with references.
Wow.
Oh,
Just
that's
go to it,
dangerous.
and check it out. It will blow your friggin' mind.
And
Wow.
this is only
Wow.
the first generation. This is only like the first of these.
Yep.
Right. So just to hop in here on the AI, I actually got the privilege of going to that opening weekend of the MIT Museum in Boston, and there is a poetry AI generator as just part of the experience of going to the museum. And I was like, oh, I can fool this. I can write a better poem. I'm gonna like throw some curveballs. So I think the first line was something like, I sat there looking at the stars, and then it kind of picked up on this like very nostalgic idea, and then I don't remember what it spit out, but then I said, and then I will eat a hamburger with all of the juice flowing like a river down down my arm, or something that really weird and absurd. And then I picked up on that, and it's I think you guys hit it right on the head. It's a tool. It's an adaptive tool
Mhm.
that can give you ideas. But one of the things that I just wanted to add is looking at copyright law and how that is changing. A lot of it is now adding the verbiage made by humans. Like it's something that you can't really fake. Um, so that's something to just be aware of and to start, especially as an educator, Jason, you as an educator, I love that you're experimenting in real time with it, because students, I think, as long as they know it's a tool, and it's taught that this is a tool, and we don't hide it from them, and we don't really say, okay, but I'm gonna know when you wrote an essay with it, and I'll be a detective. As long as they just know that's not appropriate, and but yes, have this technology, have it be a tool for the next ideation and to move your creativity forward. I think at the end of the day, Something can be generated by AI, but not really created, because created has a whole other implication to it, I think. So I'm curious to hear some thoughts on that.
I think the first generation of this, like, it is so impressive. It's only going to get better. So that creation aspect, I don't know if in like 5 to 10 years, if you are going to be able to, or even sooner, if you are going to be able to detect poetry by AI versus the best poet in the entire world. I don't know if we're like, it is that good right now. Or it will be. That's what I think. I was a skeptic before. I'm because I'm a scientist. I'm always a skeptic. I'm not a skeptic anymore. Not anymore. I was like, AI's never gonna get there. It's never. I put in, write me an epic rap battle about climate change, and it spit out something that's just as good as what Eminem could do, like literally.
But I did an episode actually about that, about how is AI overtaking marketing jobs, especially when it comes to copywriting or writing ads or writing funnels for clients and things like that. Because I see a lot of people are using those tools now when it comes to AI. Instead of hiring a full-time copywriter, now they just go and pay a yearly fee for an AI tool that can just write the entire thing for them. So I'm hearing it's a little buzz going on in the marketing world. It's like, what's going to happen to us? And I did that episode in my show about is AI a threat to the marketing industry? And surprisingly, a lot of people said no. And at the end of the episode, they said, no, it's not a threat. It's a tool. And some
They're
of them...
idiots. They're idiots. They're idiots who are going to be they're going to be homeless pretty soon.
They're in denial.
Absolutely.
I feel the same way too, because I do feel like it's a threat. It is a threat. So how do we combat that? I personally, like, at the end of the episode, I just gave the people, just gave my people like just a couple of recommendations. Like, you know what? It's not going to go anyway. Nowhere this AI is going to just disappear and you get your copywriting job back.
No.
So instead of fighting it back and trying to convince clients that you're better than this AI, why not learn how to use that and add it to your skills?
Yes.
Just add it to your services.
There's one thing called TribeScaler, just the way it sounds. TribeScaler.com. It writes Twitter hooks, and it will rewrite your tweets into better tweets. It's $50 a month.
Ooh.
But man, does it work. It is it writes clickbaity hooks, granted, but that's clickbaity fine. Hooks work. They work.
There's a reason why they're called clickbait.
Right. And it's Nicholas Cole. Well, Nicholas Cole said something very profound about it. He says it ain't clickbait if you deliver. So if you say the seven secrets to X, if you deliver the 7 secrets to X, then it's not clickbaity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, this topic here leads into episode 3. What are the risks, rewards, and challenges of being an early adopter? I think the reward here is exactly what Gia said, in that if you learn it and add it to your repertoire because it isn't going away, I think that can be a really powerful piece to what's going on, because there's a lot of people who haven't heard of ChatGPT yet, or even what is possible with AI, and they are going to have a big question mark, but that's not their interest. They don't want to go learn it. They'd rather hire someone who does and educate their team, or be the person to do it, or whatever. So I think we're going to start seeing this on LinkedIn, where people are going to be having titles and skill sets in reference to this.
Oh, yeah.
So when it comes to risks, rewards, and challenges of being an early adopter, let's run the room here. And I'm curious what each of you, based on our show then, now it seems like it's a completely different thing. In 4 months, this question means something entirely different.
I know. Remember when we were discussing this and we were talking about as like, yes, when it comes to, let's say, AI as an early adopter, and we were discussing it, like now I'm going back to the episode, and it's like, we have completely different views now, just in 4 months. It's crazy. This is how fast technology moves. So if you don't move fast with technology, you're going to be left behind, basically.
This is me. I was a skeptic. If we did the show about AI, if I go back to, I don't think I was part of that AI episode, to be honest with you, but I was a skeptic about AI. I was like, no way. It can't. It's garbage. It can't do anything. You're all crazy. And then I'm converted. I'm like, if teachers don't start using this or understanding it, it's like fighting. It's like fighting a raging river. You're gonna get swept away. So you might as well
but
go
you're
with
the
the
early
current.
adopter. You're the early
Yeah, that's
adopter
true.
within the education industry going, hey, fellow educators, this is a thing and we need to be aware of it. So in the early adopter mode, you're leading everybody and informing and educating. And I bet you right now there's a lot of schools or educators that are like, they're going to be the ostrich with their head in the sand because they just
they
want
are.
to.
I've talked to some of my fellow teachers, and they're like, their eyes glaze over, and they're like, "Oh well." I'm like, no, not oh well, not oh well.
I've seen it too.
This is world changing. Like, you need to listen to me.
It's going to replace a lot of teachers.
Oh,
You can go to
100%.
chat. You can go to Chat GPT, and for instance, last night I did it with my wife. She is a prominent psychotherapist in IFS, internal family systems, and we said, teach me, explain IFS to new therapists in training.
Yeah.
And it explained it, and the first words out of my mouth, this is her first experience with AI. She said, "George, can you mail that to me?" I knew we had her.
Yeah.
It was a cogent. It was better than she or I or Dick Schwartz, the inventor of it, could have explained it.
I typed in, write me a long-range lesson plan about blah, blah, blah in chemistry, and it spit out a long-range lesson plan.
Wow.
Like, do you know how much time it takes teachers to write long-range lesson plans?
It'll write.
That's a tool. But that's a tool.
Dan, it'll write Shakespearean sonnets. You could say, write me a Shakespearean sonnet about AI and Twitter Spaces.
Right,
and it will write you a sonnet in Shakespearean. And I would say some ways better than Shakespeare. But
so Jason
that'll get some people out of shape.
What about the time that you're going to get back from this? Because I think, Jason, one of the things you said was that teachers may be adjusting the way that they teach in reference to this, because you're not going to send kids home and say, bring me a paper by the end of the week. You're probably going to do in classroom education. Yep. And so there's going to be a huge shift. And I think that the two of you are the early adopters in education because you're aware and you're trying to educate others. And I think that in and of itself is a job where you can go around the country speaking on stages, talking to people, not just in education, but in any industry, and educate everyone else about what's possible so that they know how to adjust to this in their business.
Right. I think that's exactly, and actually a really good segue probably into the passion episode. But to me, this is not exactly new, because back in the late 90s, there was a piece of software just in the composition world that could spit out a Bach chorale, because you put in the 16th century and 17th century counterpoint rules, and then it just said, I'm going to follow the rules and I'm going to spit this out. So I guess that's where I'm a little bit, I've already kind of have the mindset of this is a tool. And I think that's definitely one of the rewards, speaking to episode 3 of being an early adopter. But I think the risk, or maybe the opportunity cost, is the time that it takes to learn it if it becomes obsolete. Which I don't like. I completely agree. This is not obsolete. This is like what we need to just be focusing on. Is how we can use AI, especially in schools and education, in just having more people know how to use it well. But like for me, back in the late 90s, if I would have sat down and tried to figure out all the code that it took to figure out this Bach chorale generator, that wouldn't have been time well spent for me, because I was trying to learn 16th and 17th century counterpoint myself at the time. So I think that it requires that balance of risk and reward, or opportunity cost, because you just have to know that the constant there is time. What is the time that we have to spend? Is what we're learning going to save us time or take more time that we just don't get back? And I think, just for anybody listening, delving into using AI and allowing it to just kind of become part of our common language. I think there's a lot of power in that.
That's absolutely true. And that reminds me of the episode where we discussed education, technology, and AI. And it's amazing how this conversation just takes us through the entire show in the past 4 months. And this is what makes an amazing conversation, is that it's just flowing. We're just discussing episode by episode, but it feels like a flowing conversation, and it's around the same topic, but it's not. We discuss this in technology and education and AI, and also passion and purpose, and early adopter, because as an early adopter and as a late majority and inventors, we look at things from our perspectives. We think of it because a lot of the things, people resist change. And when you resist change, that's when you delay improvement. That's when you delay growth. That's when you delay a lot of things. So this show in itself was actually in the innovator stage, Jennifer, when we first started.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
No one, but look at it. We grew through it and we pushed through. We had a lot of setbacks, but we pushed through it. And now I'm seeing some people are like trying to do the same thing, trying to be an early adopter through this. But one of the things that we learned from this show and from all of the topics that we talked about is that you have to try. You have to just jump in and just try. And if you fail, that's okay. Just fail forward. Just move forward and tap into your passion and connect with people, because we don't know each other in person, people. We've never met. But we connected because we decided, you know what, we're going to try this. We're going to experiment. We're going to try this, and we're just going to jump forward. And we tried it. And that's how Jason said, you know what, why don't we all just do this show together? And we tried it, and it was an amazing experiment. And now it's become a part of our weekly lives now.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. We
So
one show we should mention really quick in between. We kind of like covered the education one, I think, with AI. We did a really fun show with Indra. Indra was part of the conversation list early on, and then she's super busy, so she had to unfortunately bow out about movies. And that one was it was really fun to hear all the speakers take on how the movies they have watched profoundly affected them. And I just, as somebody who loves movies, I have to mention just how fun that conversation was. It wasn't about AI. It wasn't really anything, ground shaking and profound, but it made
fun.
people vulnerable, and it was fun, right? Like it was really cool.
Yeah, and I was the odd man out because I hate movies.
I remember that.
Remember that?
But I love listening to you talk about it, George. That's the whole point.
Yes. That was what was interesting to me. I mean, I bowed out at first. I said to Indra, I have nothing to say about it. Give me a good novel. The scenes are much more vivid in novels than they are in movies to me. So she said, no, come and share your perspective. And she pushed me. And I can't. And there was also a category movie that I do love, which is documentaries. You can't do, if you have original scenes from an event that happened, that's so much better than a description of it. You're actually seeing the event, or at least the photographer's perspective on it. And so I love documentaries, but I don't like, and I quipped, my joke is the only movie that was better than the book was The Ten Commandments.
But do you remember, George, what I said to you? Do you remember what I said to you when you said that?
What?
Okay.
No,
what
I
I
don't.
told you was, it's because you read books and movies, and back in the day when they used to make movies without the CGI and without the cool effects, it wasn't
Right.
as good as your imagination. So they were a letdown. So books were definitely 100 times better. Yeah, that was a really good episode. I really enjoyed that. I didn't think
That was
I
was
didn't know what to
fun.
add. Yeah, it was really fun. Oh, what was the question you guys asked me? What was it? Was Home Alone a Christmas movie? No, not
Yeah.
Home Alone. Die
Die
Hard.
Hard.
Die
Die Hard.
And the answer is
Duh.
yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
That is the
Oh my
correct
God.
answer. Yes. Correct.
Yeah, yes, 100%.
Here we are talking about it right before Christmas. I am watching Die Hard. I always watch Die Hard like
Mhm.
Christmas Eve. I watch it
Mhm.
every Christmas Eve. So there you go.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
when Gia was talking before, I wanted to add, and was on mute, unfortunately. But she triggered a question in my mind. What have we learned? What has not worked that we learned from?
That's a good question.
I can start. I think at the beginnings, we were overproduced, over-controlled, I think we were just trying to plan out too much. And it's now so much more loose and spontaneous, and I think even more productive. But people might disagree with that. I don't know.
I agree. I think we're better too.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
I just had a little quip. Kind of a Shakespearean nod. Levity is the soul of wit.
Yeah, I agree, George. It was just something everybody who was a host, right, wanted to just knock it out of the park. And I think what I found,
tried too hard.
Tried too hard. Yeah. And like the last couple shows I did, man, I just like, here's the questions, guys, show up, let's roll. And it was just as good as the ones where I like took hours to plan. So
And I think
Exactly.
that ties into the fact that we know each other well now. And in the beginning, we were still trying to learn our pacing and our timing and get a sense of equality when it came to, because there were so many of us, and
Yeah.
trying to allow each of us to have the appropriate space to give value to the conversation and to receive value. We needed more structure and more control at that time. But now that we've kind of
Yes.
honed it in and we know each other really well, it's a lot easier now. So I want to give everybody who's listening, if you're thinking about doing something like this and you think, oh, those conversationalists, they've got it locked down, I could never do that. It takes time. We weren't this flowy and this comfortable in this way on episode 1 or episode 2. It took us a while to get here. And now, yes, we can just have a topic show up and we can roll, and it's very comfortable, but it does take time, and it's worth it because we see the value in what we're doing together.
Well, I just remember my first impression, like of episode 1. I was blown away. It seemed magical because of the tech. So I was wondering if we could just have like a tech moment, because that's something that I think has really grown along with the evolving of what was already talked about, was the tech. So can somebody feel that? Just like what is the setup? This is where my audiophile nerd brain turns on.
Oh, that's funny. That's what
remember.
caught you. That's what you thought was the cool thing, was when we announced that we were on like 4 platforms at once or something like that.
I remember the moment because I was standing at the kitchen sink and suddenly I saw Indra come on LinkedIn. And then I looked over at Twitter. I'm like, Indra's on Twitter too. And then everybody else. And so I was drawn in through.
Go Indra.
Just like, yeah. And that's like, that was how I came into the creative art of music, was through music theory. Like, that's just where my brain goes. So for those tech enthusiasts, I was wondering, could we have a moment just celebrating what is the setup?
I have to give 100% props to Michael Sterling. He's listening right now. He was one of the OG conversationalists.
Yes.
And then got busy. Yeah. So Michael, thank you so much. Michael helped me with tech. This would not be what it is today without Michael's help. So Twitter Spaces.
None of us could have survived without Michael.
Yes, 100%.
In various ways.
Yeah. So the credit where credit is due, even though I'm one of the ones that multi-streams or multicast now. So for the people that are wondering, it's not super easy yet. I'm hoping it gets easier. Twitter Spaces, of course, as a speaker, only currently runs through your phone, right? So there's no speaker on desktop yet. So my phone is hooked up to a mixer. My mixer is called a Rodecaster, but other mixers will work. And then that Rodecaster is hooked up to the computer through like a cord, like a USB cord. And then I can run Club Deck on my computer. And then that's how I get the Club Deck. And then I can also run LinkedIn on my computer, because there's multiple different audio streams that your computer can run in and out at the same time. I am Bluetoothing to a second phone for Wisdom, because Wisdom for me on my Mac doesn't, like some Macs, you can run Wisdom like as a platform on a computer, but for me it doesn't. So I have to run it on my phone. And you can just keep hooking up things as long as you have enough things to hook up to. And then Jennifer, you are streaming to other places as well from your end.
Right. So what I do, the tech on my side is that I am using Ecamm Live to live stream this to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Vim, which is a Web3 live streaming DApp on the Hive blockchain. So it's going out to 5 different places, and I'm using Chrome to do it. So I just make the screen as big as I can to fit in, and I have a little design, kind of looks like an iPad, and then I have the title on the right, and that developed over time because I tried various ways of what should this look like? What should that look like? And this is what I've come upon for now. Will it change for next season? Probably, but this is what it is. So if you look at the evolution of us as hosts, so you can subscribe to the podcast and you can listen to us as a group grow, grow, grow and enhance. The same thing with the live stream. Every time that I did it, I was like, oh, let's try this and let's try that. That's that experimentation that we're all just like, let's throw spaghetti against the wall and see what happens. And thank you all for being part of that journey because you must like spaghetti and walls to come week after week.
Yes.
That's quotable.
Exactly.
We have quite a few people listening on Clubhouse right now too. So shout out to
Oh,
David,
Yay!
Rebecca,
Shout out
Diana,
to
Jacob,
Clubhouse.
and Chris.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Hey, remember when we had nobody on Clubhouse?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what happens on LinkedIn. That's why I don't do the LinkedIn anymore. It was just me
But we
streaming to
but-
nobody.
we have a huge tolerance for experimentations that have not yet worked out, but we
Yes.
we keep doing it until it works or get it to work. That's a difficulty with experimenting. Too many experiments are given up too fast.
Well, and
So
I
we
like this
spaghetti
thing.
and walls.
We like spaghetti and walls. I like the episode that Samantha did where she said, what advice would you give your 20-year-old
yeah.
self? Because, woo, man,
Yeah.
that
Oh,
caused us
wow.
to go back and really kind of put a magnifying glass on our own lives in a way that we could share something in the short amount of time that we could without it being war and peace in order to give value to everyone that was participating and everyone who was listening and now who listens to the podcast.
Mm-hmm. That was such a good episode.
Yes.
Could I
It
talk
was.
briefly about a section from that I
Yes,
talked about?
please. Yes, I want you to talk about that. Yes.
It was very hard for me because we had to give advice, like the best advice somebody has given you. And I told a very, very heartfelt story about the loss of our first family dog and the advice somebody gave me about the grief that comes with that and something that you can do. So I struggled getting that out. That was very emotional for me. And then I'm like, this was, that advice was so profound that maybe I could turn that into a little audio clip. And I did. And I put that on our TikTok channel and it has like close to 400,000 views with thousands of comments of people like the resonating with the advice. So that never would have happened without that show. That never would have happened without Samantha's question.
Yes.
So that's the power of this team together. Like that advice was there. It was a story from my life, but it was brought out because of this experience.
And it
Mhm.
wasn't just advice for you, even though at the time it was. It's advice that people worldwide are needing to hear. So that's so powerful.
It was such a powerful moment when that happened because when Samantha asked us that question, I didn't know. So instead of saying that, I just wrote a letter to my younger self, and I apologized to her, and it was very emotional. Like that, I remember the entire week since we started planning the episode, I was just struggling to finish the letter because emotions were coming out. And then so I said my letter, and then Jason said his piece, and it came full circle. The entire episode just came full circle for all of us, and it helped me connect with you all to in a deeper level that I didn't even thought was possible. I knew about our vulnerabilities. That was a very vulnerable episode for a lot of us and for our audience too. We had a lot of comments and posts and shares, stories. It was such an amazing episode. And this is one of the things that I love about this show is that with every week we challenge ourselves. We don't just plan the show just for a show. We challenge ourselves with what are we going to talk about today this week? How are we going to phrase that? And remember, we only have a short amount of time for every one of us to share our piece. So you really have to be concise and on time about it. And that brings a lot about you as a person, and it shows a lot and reflects a lot on how you bring out that information or that story about you. and it's just I don't know what to say, it's just amazing. It's just the things that come out in this show. I don't think we could have done that anywhere else, just on our own shows. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Mhm.
we're better together.
100%.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and you move
I-
forward at the speed of trust, and I think it's that trust that is building week to week, and it because everybody is so efficient, it builds, I think, exponentially.
I love
Yeah,
that.
we're in. Well, I think just to pat ourselves on the back a little bit. I think we're serving as an example to bring back the fine art of conversation.
Mm.
That used to be a century ago. That was what people had. I mean, they had salons, right? At least the upper classes or even middle classes had salons, and they showed up at each other's houses. They sat around and talked. They played the piano maybe, and that was it.
They had coffee shops
y-
opened, and weren't they outlawed in places because people would get
Yeah,
together, and that's how
coffee.
dangerous ideas
Yeah,
came about.
coffee
From
shops.
people talking.
Coffee shops were out in the Middle Ages. Coffee shops were outlawed, but pubs were encouraged because people got drunk in pubs, and they were harmless, at least to the government. But coffee shops were where plots got hatched.
Yeah, there you go.
Because
That's yeah.
So we're kind of like the coffee shop.
That's
I
how
love
it that's
that. I
how it
love that
feels
metaphor.
too.
I can't resist. Also, before I can't resist saying, to a guy my age, live streaming means something completely different.
Now I
Never
want to know
mind.
what that means.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Wait, George, before you
wait,
go,
we're
Never mind.
PG-13, right?
Never mind.
PG-13.
Never mind. Yeah. As
I-
Indra said, keep it Disney.
Yeah, there we
there
go.
you go.
Yep, let's keep it
There you go.
Disney.
And
Keep it
I've
Disney.
I've got to bow out. Speaking of family oriented, I'm gonna go. I'm in Las Vegas right now, living at a bunkhouse, and we're gonna go, I guess, explore the desert.
Fun.
Wow.
I've got to head out, but this
Your
has
wife's
been
got a consulting
amazing.
gig there, right, or something?
Yeah, well, she's on a detail, so it's a 2-month detail in Vegas. But it's not what
Oh.
you think. It's like 20 miles outside of Vegas in the desert.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Well, go, Dan, go. Have fun.
Yeah.
All right,
Go,
thank you so
Dan.
Thanks
much.
for
Enjoy.
thanks for joining
and
us.
happy holidays.
You as well.
We all
See you, Dan.
We also want to send a shout out to Rose, who's got.
Yes.
I think she's tested positive for COVID, so she's not up here. If anybody's wondering what she's doing down there as listeners, we're sending her
Well,
our
she's
best
supporting
wishes
us.
and
Thank you,
hope
Rose.
she gets well. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot, Rose.
Hey,
really hope you
speaking
get
of
better
Rose,
soon.
let's talk about her show. She hosted a show about interview, how to ask us anything. I don't think I was
Oh.
there for that show. Can you guys talk about that one? I wasn't there for that one. The how to
It was
Sorry,
ask
did
us
I-
anything. So ask the
Yeah, did I cut out?
conversationalist
I'm
anything.
sorry.
It was an AMA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's also about how to ask questions for interviews, because Rose is a journalist, and she has her show Women to Follow. Every week she will have a woman to the show, and then she'll ask them questions, and she'll bring them to the show, and how they were amazing women in the show. I'm sorry, they were amazing women in their fields and things like that. So Rose is a veteran when it comes to asking the right questions to her guests. So she did the show. I remember I was her producer, Daryl and I. Daryl is not here with us today, but he's part of the conversationalist.
Mm.
Daryl with the dashes. And I remember I was helping her, and she asked. Rose always has these amazing questions to her guests. She always asks something that makes you stop and think, or ask something about you that, it's like, hey, you know what? I never heard. Like, she asked me a question when I was on her show. She was like, how did you combine science and social audio, or science and marketing together?
Mm.
What made you want to do that? And it stopped me, because usually, because now a lot of people don't know that I was in the medical field before, but Rose did, and she asked the right question for me as a guest, and it helped bring that light about me, that different light about me that not a lot of people knew. So in her episode, she was basically showcasing how to ask the right questions, and we practiced on, we were asking questions from each other too, we were giving examples of questions. So it was a really, really good episode. For anyone who would like to listen to that again, it's up in the nest, and I've also added the entire list for the podcast.
Thanks, Jeff.
Somebody ought to compile. I don't volunteer to do it because I'm not that organized, but we ought to compile a list of the ones that have gone on so far, and maybe URLs of how people can get to them or something. So we have
like
a kind of
on
record
Twitter,
of,
George. Like
or-
the podcast has them all listed, right?
Mhm.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's probably the easiest place to find it. But I agree. I mean, they're all on Twitter somewhere.
a Twitter
Yeah.
thread, or it would have been a Twitter Moments, but the moments have gone. So
They gone.
a Twitter thread or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but this
Okay.
this is in the works for next year. We're going to meet up and re-strategize the show and plan it in a bigger way. So it's in the works.
Man, I'm
Mhm.
regretting I missed that episode because I do interview scientists on my podcast, so I could always brush up on how to talk to people. Yeah.
Yeah, we should do
Um,
more on how to ask better questions. It's kind of specialty of mine too. So I'd love
Cool.
to talk more about
Interview.
that.
Yeah.
Well, that ties us into the power of community, and the power of
Mm.
community is that.
Well, you've really
you're-
done your homework, Jennifer. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm actually looking at the podcast and just
Oh,
going
okay.
and just as we're talking, I'm like, okay, we're covering that. Oh, we haven't talked about that yet. But the power
I'm
of
really
community
impressed.
is exactly what's happening right here, right now. Right?
Yeah.
Jason knew us through various spaces. We were interacting with one another. He thought we should develop this group, this community, have these conversations, and all that you've heard us share before, the impact it's had on us, the things that we've heard others tell us, and all of this things that are happening happens because of the power of community. And so that is a key to really making things work for us, but not just in a one-sided manner. It's really this value model that everybody gains from the interactions and from the community.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
that
whole
was.
is greater than
Yeah,
some
go
of
ahead.
its parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
That's how-
learned so much from that episode. Like I was the host of that episode, and I had my own spin on what community is. Like that's something that the Bunsen and Beaker account we try really hard to do is build community, and all of the speakers, man, it was so much value in that show for somebody that I thought, oh, I know quite a bit about community. I could host a show about it, and then turns out I actually don't really know that much. So so that was good.
But isn't that how we learn though? We learned about a lot of things just by planning these shows or hosting them. Like I remember when but isn't this the power of social audio too? At the same time, is that it forces us to listen to different perspectives, to different global perspectives, that you have to deliver a different perspective than yours. You have to you're forced to widen your perspective.
Mhm.
Because it's a lot of people that we meet. It's different perspectives, different people, different experiences. So yeah, this is one of the things that the power of social audio kind of
Yeah.
did with all of us.
The speaker list on those two shows, like I'm just looking at the people who talked on the community one, and like all of the speakers have built community in their own way through social audio, and that's what's so cool. Like George, you run a space with Madeline Sklar about profiles. There's a whole
Right.
community, people that show up every week to listen to that. Dr. Barry, our AI speaker, AI scientist, she runs spaces on AI. Mariah is a marketing genius. She runs spaces about marketing. Gia, you have your own thing, which is amazing too, Decoded. Samantha runs spaces. Rose runs spaces. Daryl is a big wig on wisdom. Daryl's one of the biggest speakers on wisdom, and he's got a massive community there. So like I'm just looking at, I'm getting goosebumps because there's like literally thousands and thousands of people that listen to all of us in our different communities. So cool.
Mhm.
Also, let's not neglect the fact that you, in 1 year or so, this is just from memory, I think Jason has gone from about 100,000 followers to around 165,000, 169, whatever you are at the moment. So you have had a gigantic increase. I've gone from 1,800 followers to 25,000 followers in 1 year.
Wow.
A lot of us have gone, we've kind of made our mark, and people are hearing us, listening to us, gaining traction. It's quite an amazing community. Twitter is it's an amazing word of mouth community.
Mm-hmm.
The only first and only one in history.
Very cool.
It is.
Yeah.
Now to our audience, which ones were your favorite episodes for the conversationalists, and what did you learn this year, and what was your best moment when it comes to social audio, or what did you learn from Spaces this year? What impacted you? What inspired you this year? Share with us in the comments or in the chat right there below, and let us know what inspired you and what are you looking forward to in 2023. What would you like for the show to host for you, like different topics, different things? Just let us know in the chat below. And also we're going to open up, it's top of the hour, should we open up the floor?
Sure.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
We had a couple of requests from Chris.
Yeah, it'd be great if
Yeah, I
Michael
saw
could
that.
come up. It'd be
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But he may
I
not be in a place
saw
where he
Chris.
can.
He's left.
He's left.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Farmer and the Dell and Kelly. Those were our regular listeners. You guys are here every week. Thank you so much for being here with us every week. If anyone would like to come up, just send us a request and we'll pull you right up.
There's
Yeah,
Legion
and
too.
that goes for
Legion.
Legion.
Yes.
I want to acknowledge Legion. He's kind of saved the day yesterday. The people were going crazy over the disappearance of Spaces, and it was inexplicable. Nobody understood why and how. And of course, Elon was quite terse in his explanations. And Legion explained the whole thing to us. I have a personal debt of gratitude to him for doing that, because I was going completely bonkers and insane over it. And he kind of brought me back to reality and said, okay, that's why he did it. He did it ham-handedly, but he did it. And so, we got some amazing people around here.
Well, while we're waiting for folks to come up, we can continue to recap. But yes, we do want you to come up and share some of the moments that were impactful for you. Experimentation and building in public. That's exactly what we've been telling you that we've been doing for the last 4 months, is that we're just like, let's do this thing and let's take everybody on the journey with us. And it was really a way for us to share times that we have done open experimentation or built in public as a way to encourage others to do so. And I led that show, but I wanted to hear, I was more interested in what everyone else had done in their own way as a way to kind of grow their community or to make their mark. As George was saying, we've kind of made our mark in our own unique ways. And I just think it was something that was hopefully inspiring to others.
I think
Thoughtful song.
with our audio shows, we experimented with games with our pet show on Saturday, and it is something that is hilarious. It is so fun. So it's not a very serious space, and it's really niche. So like people come to talk about their pets. So it's not for everybody, right? But we play a Kahoot. We play this game at the front, and people are addicted to it. They come and they try and win, and they're taking notes. Like they're very competitive to win this game. So they take notes throughout the week about things that Bunsen and Beaker tweets or whatever's on the podcast, because I always use a couple questions from there. So that's been a really fun thing that I tried, because I thought it would flop, but it is very fun for our listeners to play this game at the start of our space.
Jason, you just reminded me of something I wanted to say to you for a long, long, long time. That phrase you use, it's not for everybody. That is a genius phrase. It's so brilliant. You have no idea. From a marketing standpoint, it's saying so many things in one little phrase. It is absolutely genius. It's not for everybody. It takes down the pretensions. It makes people consider, is this for me? Is this not for me? He's not trying to be everything to everybody. He's not all full of himself. It does so many things. It's brilliant. I love that phrase. Every time you use that phrase, I love it.
It is.
Just quickly, folks on Clubhouse and Wisdom, if you want to pipe in and talk, go ahead. We have listeners there too. So back to back to there's people on Twitter waiting to speak. Sorry, and thank you, George.
Hey, Michael joined us. Yay!
Yay!
Hello,
yes.
friends.
Hey.
Hey, Michael. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too. Yeah, this has been a great program, and I'm sorry I haven't been able to continue, being a part of it every Saturday. I've got chronic stamina issues, and so mornings are usually tough for me, and I have other things I've got to prepare for on Saturdays, and so being a part of the show has been difficult. But I've enjoyed listening in, and those first episodes that I was able to be a part of were really special. I really did enjoy the one about movies, especially, and the debate about whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It's not, but
shots fired.
you take
shots
Christmas
fired.
out of Die Hard, it's still Die Hard. It's not. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. But this has been a great program, and it does encourage me to keep going with my social audio efforts. And I love that you guys have talked about asking better questions and so on, because that's actually a program I've started on Clubhouse. I have a club called Ask Better Questions, and I've really felt for a long time that if you ask better questions, you get better answers. So that's the whole theme of the program. Is every week we talk about a question and just try to.
Michael, when is your show?
It's Friday afternoons at 4:00 Central Time on Clubhouse. So you just look up the Ask Better Questions Club there, and you will find it. So.
I'm definitely going to come. Yeah.
Michael,
Can you share that?
Michael, are you still running the audio lounge?
Yeah, I also have the Audio Lounge House on Clubhouse, and so we have just a group of great audio creators, whether it's social audio or podcasters or live streamers or anybody that's interested in sort of fusing techniques and technology for creation online and helping improve people's audio and sound better and all that stuff. So yeah.
And you also have a Discord channel as well.
Yeah, so I started the Discord channel earlier this year, not realizing what I didn't know and the sort of high learning curve about Discord. So it's sort of languished. I haven't done much with it, and I apologize to those who became members of the Discord server, and nothing much has happened there. But we'll see what happens in 2023. So on. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to be an entrepreneur and lead communities online and stuff like that, because I've been an audio engineer and not as much a community builder, so I'm sort of figuring out as I go. Yeah.
While I've got you here, Michael, and I've said this to you privately, thank you so much for all of your help with audio. You've
so
saved
welcome.
my bacon multiple times.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. Thank you. I realized at the end of last year of 2021 that I had some talents and experience that I could help other people like yourselves and people on Clubhouse and podcasters to have better audio. And I feel like that's a little contribution I can make to the world to make the world a better place, is to share what I know with others. So thank you.
But you do this for a living too, right? Like if somebody had their own community and they wanted to do what we're doing, they could hire you to set them up and train them up.
Yeah. I mean, I have a website. You can go to my profile. sterlingclear.online is the address, and I do one-on-one sessions with people to help them strategize and optimize their audio. And I'm still, again, trying to figure out other ways to help people out, maybe doing group sorts of workshops and sessions. I've started creating some online materials that people can buy and download, so that I don't have to say the same things over and over again. I can just, create it once and then people can buy it multiple times. So it's just getting the time and the energy and brain capacity to get all that together that I'm still working on. So yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff. Yeah, Michael knows his stuff. When it comes to audio, he's the guy.
He is, and he's an amazing mentor too.
He spent a long time with me trying to help me get sound effects into Spaces. It didn't work, and God, we went through all kinds of stuff. Found it was eventually the microphone setting on the iPhone, but it allows me to do that now.
Yay.
through my Farrago my Farrago soundboard.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Michael, what are your tips for our folks here listening? Your tips for end of the year and going into the next year. If they're starting their show, people are inspired to start a show, inspired to go into social audio, anywhere, any tool, any platform. What are your tips for them?
Oh, wow. Okay, so first of all, you don't have to have a professional microphone and a mixer and all the audio gear anymore. Our smartphones actually have really good microphones built into them. So, as long as you use some good technique and, not have the phone too far away from your mouth, but also not be popping directly into it, so it's all the plosives are going into it, you can sound good with just your phone. I would say use headphones if you can, not Bluetooth headphones, because then the microphone in the Bluetooth headphones is not that great for making you sound good. But if you can use the headphones either without the microphone built into them and then you speak into your phone, or you could use the headphones with the mic built into them, that even sounds better than Bluetooth. So that, and then from the technique standpoint, be intentional about sort of the type of conversation or program that you want to lead. I would say you don't have to have everything figured out, but have a good framework that you can build upon and shift things around to see what works and so on, so that you have some sort of direction going into what you're trying to create. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question.
Wonderful.
Woot woot.
It does. It does. These are really good tips. These are really, really good tips. You heard the man, everyone.
All right. Well, I need to get going so I can keep preparing for some other stuff that's coming up later today. But I've really been enjoying. I'll keep listening.
Thanks. Yeah, so great to talk.
Yeah, good talking with you all,
Thank you,
and
Michael.
happy holidays and Merry Christmas to whatever you celebrate, and Happy New Year, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, and we have Max with us too. Hey, Max.
Max Morales.
Hey,
our
Max.
Our biggest fan.
Hey. Can't hear you, Max.
Oh,
you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello, I'm in Guadalajara now, just arrived 2 days ago, trying to find my way again from zero in a city that I don't know anybody, so it's been hard. But I have a place to stay, food, and energy. And listening to you helps me to realize everybody's around doing some struggles too. Thank you.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Max. So, Max, today is our last episode for 2022, and we were discussing our favorite episodes and what made them special and our best moments. So, what was your favorite episode for the Conversationalist this year?
For me, it has been the opportunity to meet you all. Considering I left Chile and be able to connect in this level of closeness, I feel close to most of you. Last night I responded to George something at 4 a.m. because I was the whole night dreaming about good questions, and I got an answer in my dreams about a client, actually, because of the good questions. I had good answers.
Ooh.
So I think that's the one that has been around, and because it's hard to find clients when you're a digital nomad. So I think that phrase of George constantly haunts me and helped me last night. So
What's
thank
the
you,
phrase?
George.
What was the phrase?
Good questions get good answers.
Okay.
I love that.
Because my clients, what I do as a business developer, it's very complicated because everybody expects to put ads on social media and clients will arrive, but clients are not arriving. They are somewhere, and I get close to the products, So I'm preparing a whole strategy for a client that hasn't hired me yet, but I need to give them something. So with the good questions that I asked him, he gave me the lead to prepare a proposal. So that will be my main learning from the last couple of weeks. And Gia, from the place where you are, also motivate me to keep going, really. I feel closeness to all of you, really. Thank you.
Max.
That speaks to the intimacy of the audio medium, though, because, you heard Michael talking about wear some headphones or earbuds, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
wearing headphones, and all of you are about as close to me as you could get without physically being here because you're
Mm-hmm.
We're in
whispering
your
in
head.
my
We're in your
ear.
head. Yeah, we're in your
Yes.
head. When you wear
Yeah. So I
headphones, the
agree.
voice comes from like inside of your head. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I think that's the intimacy of it all, is that closeness and
Yeah.
the energy that we bring to it. There's no faking what's happening here. Like if we're kind of low energy, you're going to hear it. If we're high energy, you're going to hear it. If we have enthusiasm for something, you're going to hear it. If we're apathetic about something, you're going to hear it because it is that intimate and that close. So Max, I mean, we feel the same way. We've gotten to know you through social audio for the last, couple years, and more closely now through the Conversationalists, and you're always traveling and you're always innovating. And when I think about somebody who's doing what you're doing, I'm just like, man, that is so cool that someone in the world does what Max does, and they're out there teaching others and educating and building clientele in a global scale. So more power to you. Good luck on this pitch that you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
I know.
Thank you, guys.
I learned something new about Max every single time he comes on stage. No joke. And I've known him for over a year now. And every single time this guy comes and speaks, there's something new that he shares with us, a new experience, a new story, a new different things. And I connect with Max a lot. And he's in my tight circle now. And I remember when there was a space where Grant Cardone was there, and I spoke on stage with Grant Cardone, and he was there motivating me. He's like, "Oh, gee, do this, do that, do this, do that." So I appreciate people like that around me. I appreciate people who push you forward. Like, you know what? Yeah, let's go, full momentum. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And Max has that. Max just never this energy that he has that to push people forward. It's contagious. It's
Hmm.
honestly contagious. And one of the things that Billy D said in one of the episodes, in my interview with him, is he said one of the best things about audio, just like you said, Jennifer, and also it doesn't have any filter. It's not like video. Video, you can put a filter on, you can look pretty, and people will focus on that. But with audio, there is no filter. It's just you. And just like you said, authenticity comes right through that. So
Yes. And as I like to say, if you're a shitty person and you learn authenticity, you become an authentically shitty person. So, so, it comes out. It comes out.
it does. It does. It
And
truly does.
it's really, audio is amazing for intimacy and psychological stuff. It's terrible for information density. When you have an information dense subject, it's very hard to get across audio because you can't stop, you can't slow it down, you can't go back, you can't make diagrams. There's a lot of stuff a lot of limitations. But man, people come through. You can tell if somebody knows what they're talking about immediately in audio.
Yeah.
You can tell if
Especially
they're
live
reading a
audio.
script too. Like it just comes across
Right.
clear as day. Yeah.
Yep.
We have a speaker on Clubhouse, but they may not be ready right now. So I'm just letting everybody know there's somebody on deck on Clubhouse.
Yay.
Mhm.
Oh, David's ready. Okay, so David's on Clubhouse. David, if you're ready, you're up on
Hey,
stage.
Jason. Yeah, I'm ready. I just wanted to say hello. I love hearing this right now. Definitely getting other people here in the room in Clubhouse. We're doing a lot here on social audio. Feels like we're a couple of years behind what you guys have done. Came across Bunsen Beaker listening to replays here on Clubhouse and kind of dove into some of the conversationalists. And we're doing a similar thing here, beginning of it though. So it's pretty inspirational to hear what's going on. A bunch of dog groomers just trying to spread out awareness, kindness, and all similar things that we hear you guys are doing. So definitely enjoying this, and the whole tech side's fascinating as well. So definitely love to communicate more. We need to set up our Twitter accounts as a thing, but we'll be over there, and definitely love what you guys are doing and what you guys are putting into the work that you're actually setting up and the amount of time invested in it. We definitely appreciate. So I wanted to share that, and hope you guys have a great holiday.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks,
you,
David.
Yeah,
and thanks
thank
to
you, David.
we had a bunch of people listening. David brought some folks in. David, I see Rebecca and Diana and Better Together are still here. And if you have any questions, just shoot us a line about the tech.
And let us know what you guys are doing and how we can support you. This is not a competitive. It's not a competitive situation.
It's not. And what would you like to hear too? Like, what topics would you like us to discuss next year for 2023? We're open for suggestions. We're open for feedback. So just let us know. What would you like to hear us talk about or discuss?
Or even do a deeper dive.
We'll definitely do. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, David. So for the conversationalists, what do you think makes a show like this successful?
What are the elements? The what we talk about, how we talk about it. I think it's what we bring to the table, and in a way that allows everyone to have space at the table. I think that's so key. It isn't any one person who is, I'm sitting at this table and it's only my table. It's a table for all of us as conversationalists, but not just us. It's a table for everyone who's in the room right now, whether you're in the room on Clubhouse or Wisdom or Spaces, or whether you're watching the live stream, or whether you're coming to the podcast, or whether you're listening to the replay. There is room at the table for you.
For building on that, I think it is just what I did. It's building on each other's ideas. I think it is coming as a result of what somebody says. It triggers a thought in you, an idea, maybe a half-baked idea, but it's a new idea that's a combination of what that person triggered and what you have to add to it. So you come out with stuff you didn't come out with before. I think that's the key to it. If there's one thing or two things that you didn't know before that's usable, particularly actionable, helpful in real life, boy, that's a great conversation.
I'm going to yield my response to Farmer in the Dell. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I voice my gratitude and sentiments in the Chubble, which is the chat bubble connected, but just wanted to say I have taken a Wheaties box. I have put your profile pictures all on the Wheaties box, and you are my Saturday nourishment. And I was fretting the fact that Musk thought he was powerful enough to shut down Spaces, because I would have been looking for breakfast this morning and would not have been able to find it. I want to thank you all live for changing my life and inspiring me. And I think that my favorite episode is possibly the one that Rose hosted, Ask Them Anything, where I had the opportunity to customize and personalize a question for each of you, which thankfully you answered. And it made it validated all the things that I thought about George before I actually heard his voice. And Max hit it out of the park when he said, great questions get great answers. And that is something I've learned from George. I'm thankful for you all. Look forward to 2023, learning more from you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so verklempt. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you.
It is. And it's why we do this. This is exactly why we do this. This was the purpose of the show, is to inspire, it's to create this positive impact. And Farmer in the Dell, what's your name? Craig?
My name is Craig.
Okay, Craig. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I don't know what to say. Your
makes it all worthwhile.
It does, because for me, Craig, like, I have to do this in the middle of the night, and sometimes personally it gets really hard for me to come every week to as much as I enjoy it, and I love the way the word you use, nourishment, because these conversations are nourishing to my soul every single week. It's that energy that I get in the beginning, at the end of every week, that keeps me going to the next week and the next week and the next week. And to hear you say this, it makes it all worth it. It makes everything worth it. All the hard work, all the blood and sweat we put into this show, and the conversations we went through, and the 4 months of a lot of work. It just makes it so much worth it. And I loved your questions that episode. They were so good. I remember every single question you asked because I was the one putting them up on the Nest. And I remember, and I was like, wow, this guy's really good. And yeah, that was impactful. Thank you so much.
Impactful.
No.
Let's focus on that. The impact. That's what you're saying, Craig, is that this has had an impact, but then the reverse is that you have had an impact on us. So it isn't one-sided. It's this ripple effect upon ripple effect upon ripple effect.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing that I have been disappointed in is I did not know that I could snort tea through my nose laughing at things that George says or Jason says, or, you know, I am so inspired by Rose and her Women to Follow movement. And if she's still listening out there, I just heard she has COVID. I hope she makes it through. But you guys not only inspire me, but you make me giggle. And I love giggling, whether it's the middle of the night. And then I'm thinking, damn it, George is 80. He's up at 3:30 in the morning. What the hell is going on in that household? And today he explained it. He's teaching his wife AI writing, and that takes time.
Well, I'm usually up to go to the bathroom. at this age, I'm up a few times, but thank you. So, you know, for creators, we are, a lot of us, a lot of time are, you know, the phrase is pissing in the ocean, I guess, you know, or in the dark. You know, you're putting stuff out there and you're not getting any feedback. You don't know, is what I'm doing having any impact? It sounds right. I don't know, but the feedback loop is, you know, few and far between. And you don't, and I want to thank you, Craig, for all the feedback you give me. You're very active on commenting on my tweets and all, you know, and all that. I've been tweeting minimum once per hour, 24 hours a day since March 18th, when I tried it as an experiment and just kept going with it, using Hype Fury to schedule it. But I usually do 35, 40 tweets a day. And I get a lot of feedback from you and a handful of other people. See Diane down there. You guys are very active, and it really helps. It tells us, you know, this creative energy is going somewhere, and it's having some kind of impact. And it's really very gratifying.
It does.
I really enjoy it, George. And the other thing about that is, and I put it in the Chubble, is that diversity of thought is really a superpower, and few people understand that. And the fact that we're talking to people all over the world of all ages, race, creed, color, size, is so amazing. And those that embrace it, like people that are here in this room today, and my buddy Max, who just went from Chile to Guadalajara. I mean, wow, what a world you guys have opened up for people that want to learn and that want that diversity in their life and prefer social audio to any other type of social entertainment. I am certainly grateful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, the mission's accomplished. If that's if that's your takeaway, that was the directive of bringing everybody together. Is the people chosen to be on the team do not all think the same way. Aside from you know, the core values of social audio is very important. So, Craig, thank you for that.
Well, and I think it's also important that you guys have taught people it's okay to repurpose content. I mean, one of my favorite tweets of George, and there's probably 6,000, but one of my favorites is he says, if you are following me and I write something that is meaning to you, take the time to retweet it. I think he could post that every week and I'd say something every week. But people forget that there's things to learn from everyone. And when I was little, my dad told me the difference between a dumb guy and a smart guy is a smart guy takes ideas from everyone and works to make them his own. A dumb guy takes advice only from himself.
I love your dad saying. That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
love it so much.
And that goes well with don't believe everything you think.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Definitely.
Somebody brought up
Wow.
Diane, so maybe we'll go
Yes.
to Diane. And Craig, thank you for the kind words.
Thank you, Greg. You keep us going.
Yes.
Diane, did you have a favorite episode or a comment to add, or something you'd like to see us do in the future?
I would want to start off with saying thank you for having this space in general, because I am always on the lookout for interesting conversations to either listen to or be a part of, like as an introvert. Even if I'm not like the center of attention, if I'm hiding over by the fire and just listening to people have interesting conversations or weird conversations, I still learn something. So the fact that you guys all get together on social audio, and it becomes like the great equalizer, because we're voices. We're not male, we're not female, even though we are. We're not our ages, we are not our genders, we're not our religions. We are all equal people over the radio.
Hmm.
I
So
love it.
that
We're all
that
ideas.
we are all ideas. Yes, we are all ideas that get to walk around and interact with each other. So that I'm just very grateful to have found this space with all of you guys. Uh, um, Especially George with his constant little pokings of tweets that even if I don't comment back on it or retweet it or whatever, I still see it and it still gets me thinking. So I always appreciate it, because I've accepted I'm like a lifelong learner, and I've accepted that everybody has a lesson to teach me, even if I don't originally get the lesson, and the lesson's just going to continue until I get the lesson. But
Spoken like a true polymath.
But just the fantastic range and diversity of people that come to these spaces, that host the spaces, the subjects that get covered on the spaces is just awesome. I can't really I want to say I have a favorite, but I don't really have a favorite, because they're all the ones I've been able to listen in on or talk on have been end up kickstarting something in my brain. And I know there's ones that I haven't gotten a chance to listen to, but I probably will before the new year. That way I can at least catch up on all of them. But I don't really have a subject that I would want you guys to cover. I don't really have a subject that I want you guys to cover, but the fact that you guys are gonna keep going is all that I need to look forward to for the new year.
Thank you.
Actually,
Thank you.
Diane, you do bring up something. I think we need to cover the introverts.
Yes. Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. So Diane,
I
thank
love
you for
that.
giving us that idea.
Well, you're very welcome. One of my favorite introvert accounts is Master Nobody, who does spaces with Indra every week.
Those are excellent.
Yes, it's like he picks stuff right out of my brain, even if it's not current. It's like something old. Like you've done your research in Instagram. I've been to page 34 on a Google search. We are not the same. Which is like, yes, that is so me. That I went way past 34.
That's a good topic.
It is.
But
It is.
yeah, for whenever you guys cover introverts, I will definitely volunteer to show up and listen or talk.
I'm the person at the party that's hanging out with the dogs.
If there's no dogs, I'll find the cats, and if there's no cats, I'll find the fire. And if there's no fire, I'll just follow whoever I know is around.
Thanks, Diane.
Thank you so much, Diane. We see you here every week, and every time I see you coming up here, it makes my heart smile because I know you always have amazing things to say and share, and wonderful thoughts that you always share with us when you come up to speak. And I love seeing you. I love your tweets, and your presence just makes me smile when I see you around. And this is something that, again, just like we said to Greg, is what keeps us going. I'm the type of person, I'm sure like a lot of us here as well, I feed off how the energies of other people. And when I see positive energy and inspiring energy as well, it keeps me going. It makes everything worth it. The late nights, the hard work, all of it just makes it worth it. And just makes me want to come and show up for you guys as well. We can't do this without you all.
We could, it'd be boring.
Oh, yeah.
After a while, the conversation would run dry. You all add value and inspire us in return.
I don't know if I'd ever get bored talking with Jennifer. I don't think ever.
Nice. Thank you.
I mean, it's really interesting. We kind of push each other, and you know, it's no fun to just talk to people who you agree with and agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's no mind expanding. There's no challenge. There's nothing. But I think I don't know if I have anything whatsoever to say about introverts.
I do want to just say one more thing of you said something about the having the different people to talk to and like never getting bored and just talking to like-minded people. Like
Right.
I miss being around writers, and that's one of the good things that I have found about Twitter Spaces and whatnot, because I have found like the writers community and other writers, but there's also that other end because I'm not just a writer.
Right.
As we are all not just one thing. So being able to just not just be on the writing side, to think of things as, you know, an introvert or a polymath or the military or politics or religion or Black identity or whatever subjects, my cross section or mental health.
That's so amazing about Twitter. You can find people in all of those, like-minded people or complementary people to complement you. You know, in all these fields, no matter how narrow. It's unbelievable. I mean, I found people interested in sous vide cooking and some really esoteric things that I'm interested in, and that not that many other people are interested in. But you find them on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd thought about starting my own space where I just like answer tech support questions.
That's a good one,
Try it.
actually. Yeah.
Try it. Yeah,
Diane's Tech Tips.
Ooh.
It's interesting because David Pogue, who's the tech writer, one of my favorite writers, he puts out once a year, I think, he puts out a thing about tech tips that are ridiculously the kind of thing you'd be embarrassed to tell somebody about, like how do you resize a window, things like that, control keys and things that is like not even computer 101, just and it's his most popular column of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It surprised the hell out of him the first time he put it out. He just got asked a bunch of questions too many times. He put out the kind of things that are just, if anybody asks that kind of question, it's like on the level of first plug in the computer into the that thing that used to pop out is not a coffee cup holder, it's a disc holder, stuff like that. And he was and it surprised the hell out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a room for that, definitely.
Oh, definitely, Diane. This is a really
I'll send my wife.
you know what? It's
Put my
just
my
experiment.
4+ years of tech support to experience for various different colleges around the country to some good use.
There's somebody published a column on things tech support people said that got them fired.
Oh.
It was like, you can be asked some questions are so dumb. This idea of there's no dumb questions is a ridiculous phrase. I get it. I mean, I understand why teachers say that, but it's really not true. And there are just some things that people have said as tech support people. And one was, I have directions for you. Do you still have the box the computer came in? Yes. Okay, unplug the computer, put the computer in the box, send it back because you're too effing stupid to have a computer.
Whoa!
it got him fired, but it was stuff like that.
Oh.
We ought to have one on humor. We should do one on humor.
Oh, that's a
What's
good
our
one.
funny?
Oh, that's
our
a good
funniest joke.
That's a good one.
Our funniest. Oh my God, that would be. I would get kicked. I would get banned from Twitter if I told my two funniest jokes.
Got to keep it Disney, George.
Oh boy, I don't know about that. We have to suspend. We'd have to suspend that rule for me to be on it.
Well, that's me out because most of my funny jokes are definitely not Disney.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we definitely should do that one. Or humor in general. I mean, the whole concept psychologically. What is humor? What is it? I've been studying that for a long time.
As David Brent says, it's the place the mind goes to tickle itself.
Oh, I love that one.
That's really. I love Peter.
It's from the British Office.
I like is it Peter Ustinov, I think, or I forgot who said it. He said comedy is only a funny way of being serious.
Yeah, that's good too.
That's great. So anyway, that would be a good one. Let's do that.
Yeah. Just on the time, George, you've got a thing coming up right away, so we should probably be looking to wrap stuff up. So back to you, Gia, just mentioning the time.
Yes. All right. So I see Craig would like to say something, and before we end the space, I have a question after Greg says what he has to say. I have a question for you guys, Jason, Jennifer, and George. Not a question, but your tips for the year, and what are you looking forward to the next year, and what would you like to leave our listeners with? Go ahead, Craig.
Well, you stole the second part of my question, but that's okay. My question is for Jason. Jason, if you had to rewind and look back when this was an idea on a napkin or on your bulletin board or in your Bunsen beaker, you were cooking up this formula, what would be the 3 things that you've gotten the most out of by doing this?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't want to take too much time, so I'll be quick as possible. Leadership. I learned a lot about being a leader. That's not necessarily a skill set I had with adults. I'm a leader potentially of kids, but that's a very different role when you're with kids being a leader.
Wow.
I learned.
I'm surprised to hear you say that because you've done such a good job of it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. I think also trusting my instincts with the people I picked to be, I just knew they would work out. And then also giving people space. So sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, no, I got to give people space. You got to let the experiment roll without having some oversee or control it. There's a fine line between being an authoritarian leader and I guess a coach. So I guess that's where, and maybe if I had more time to think about it, my answer would be more cohesive.
Awesome. Thank you.
So Gia, you mentioned things to leave folks with.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that if you are listening to this and you're inspired maybe by what you've heard, and you're like, you have this energy bubbling within you for something that you can do like this, we do not have the market on this concept at all. We actually hope that you are inspired to do this yourself in whatever way that shapes up for you. I want to encourage you to do the thing, whatever that is. And it's going to be rough and tumble at first. That's okay. You're learning, you're figuring it out, you're mucking about. This building in public thing, it does take a little bit of courage, but you are not the only one building in public. All you got to do is look at what we've done and say, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And the answer is, yeah, you totally can. So if you're waiting for somebody to give you permission to do the thing, go stand in front of the mirror and give yourself permission, because there is no other higher power that you need to get permission from to do whatever that thing is that you want to do. So go do the thing.
Love that.
Yeah, perfect.
I would say tips for the next year. Our account is all about kindness and empathy, and the connection of the human voice in spaces like this. That is where a lot of kindness and empathy come out. You can have different viewpoints on a million different things, but when you sit and talk with people, when you have discussions, you find out that you're so similar on so many more things than you are different. So my tips and tricks for the future is to be kind and empathetic and have conversations.
I love that. That is so true. Just be open to conversations. I love that.
I think
George?
mine are two things. I'm coming to realize after a long time that it all starts with curiosity. You know, I'm looking right here at a little stuffed animal, Curious George stuffed animal, and I've always been called Curious George, so it's not a new issue, but I'm just amazed at how it all starts with curiosity. All of your interests, your values, your passions, it all grows out of it, starts with curiosity. And also the thing that I've come to realize is, there are these sets of mind skills that I'm always talking about, the skills that are important for the success in life across all fields, but the central one is problem solving. And I'm coming to realize that more and more and more. The Medici community and some other places have helped me realize how central that is. And I've now come up with a whole diagram of what mind skills are. Very simple diagram. My struggle is simplicity, is trying to bring very complicated things to a degree of simplicity. And I think I've got the diagram now. It'll serve as the table of contents. But I would advise people to focus more on your problem solving skills. Creative, and by problems I don't mean just getting rid of difficulties. Problems aren't just difficulties. They're any gap between where you are and what the goal is that you're going for. A gap, an obstacle, an abyss, a hurdle between going from here to there. Usually, like, how am I going to do X better? Focus more on problem solving than anything else. Everything else falls into place.
That's perfect.
That's
well said.
Maybe we can do one on the conversationalists on problem solving.
Oh yeah, we should. We did one for like what, 5 hours when you and I did a space on problem solving.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. We did.
Yeah, it was 5 hours. It was a really, really good topic, and much needed topic as well. From my side, what I would like to leave you with is that I understand since the pandemic started, everyone was looking forward to 2022. And from just the people around me and from what I'm seeing in social media, a lot of people actually did not have a good 2022. But you know what? That's okay. It's okay. It's 2023. I'm not going to say go kill it. 2023 is going to be the best year of your life, because I did that for 2019 and then COVID happened in 2020. So I'm not doing that again. But what I'm gonna tell you is that it's okay to pivot. It's okay to reinvent yourself. No matter how old you are, it doesn't matter. Age does not matter when it comes to reinventing ourselves, when it comes to pivoting.
Glad to hear that.
Thanks, George. Thank you. And and just sit down with yourself and just reflect on what the past 2 years, the goods, the good, the negative, and just remember one thing, that every single thing is figure outable. One of the things that this show in particular taught me is resilience and trust. Because I'm someone who runs events for clients, massive events with 30 people as speakers, and it's hard. So I have the experience doing it, but I wasn't challenged as the way I was challenged doing this show, because for once it's the time and the topics, and it's a lot of challenges that I had to go through, but it taught me resilience. It taught me trust. Like the people you see here on stage, I can trust them with anything. And I'm not someone who can trust easily, but I do trust these people, and I love them so much. And this is one of the things that social audio brought to us. But because I opened up, because I experimented, because I decided to be an innovator instead of an early adopter, because I stepped out of my comfort zone, because I decided that I'm going to keep growing, I'm going to keep moving forward. And this is what I want you to I want to leave you with, is that keep growing, open up your mind, try new things, try new experiences, listen to different people than the people that you usually listen to, read different books, read something, listen to different religions, do everything that is different from what you usually do. Just step out of your comfort zone. You got nothing to lose. I mean, we just came out of a pandemic that was brutal for everybody. I mean, we've been through that, and now everyone here is stronger. Just jump. Just jump, try new things, find out who you really are. Don't live with regrets. That's what I want to leave with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to wrap up our last show of the season.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Gia.
Thank you, all of you.
I don't know what else to add. You did good job, Gia.
Thanks, Jason.
We will be back at some point in 2023, January at some point. If you missed any of the Conversationalist episodes, we're on all your podcast players, the Conversationalists, and there's links in the chat bubble or the chubble. I like that. Now I'm going to be stealing that. And thank you to the folks who are here. It's right before holidays and everybody's exhausted and tired. So we had enough speakers that showed up. So thank you for that.
Have a great new year.
Yes. Enjoy it.
Enjoy, folks. And that's it. Go live your life. Go be in the
Yes.
moment and experience it. Live it, breathe it. Plan, yes, but appreciate where you are and what you've done. And then let's be prepared for the things that are coming.
Beautiful.
Yes. And we love you all. And be kind to yourself and love yourself too.
Yes. Wow.
Oh my God. I'm not going to speak to you guys next week.
What am I going to do on Saturday morning?
What am I going to do? I know. I was just thinking, like, what are we going to do until
We can DM
January?
each other. We'll probably DM each other.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Definitely. Definitely.
All of us are open to feedback.
Okay.
All of us are open to requests for topics. So send us if you're thinking about it. You can still get a hold of us that way for the next shows coming in January.
Yes.
Yes. I think all of our DMs are open too.
Yeah.
We're all following each other. Yep. Okay. Happy New
All right.
Year. Good holidays. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Take care. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.